I am the Martian ambassador. We come in peace.
Some say the bugs were provoked by the intrusion of humans into their natural habitat.
One ugly motherfucker.
Fuck you too!
Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Movie Night with Johnny Cinema. I'm your host, Johnny Cinema, with my co-host, Tobe De Palma.
What's going on today, Johnny?
Not much. We're on the verge, and I think this is actually kind of poor timing. And I'd like to know how you set out the schedules for movies and when they're going to premiere in the summer. Because here we are. Tonight is going to be the premiere of the sequel to Independence Day, which is 20 years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not on July 4th weekend.
I know. It's like they prematurely ejaculated out a week early here. I don't really get that.
I don't know if it's because of when the 4th is and they don't want to lose money by having a holiday weekend. And I don't know what the deal is with that, but it just seems poor timing to have a movie called Independence Day not coming out on Independence Day weekend.
I feel like it would, yeah, because here's the thing. They're banking on maybe it having a good enough word of mouth the second week and actually like picks up and it carries over and improves. I kind of feel like it would have made more sense for them to go for a long holiday weekend and release it on Wednesday of next week, because when they do number of totals, you know, if you release it on Wednesday or release it on Friday, they still count opening weekend like whenever it opens through Sunday night. So, you know, Wednesday, you get like 2 extra days of screenings. I feel like that would have made more sense.
And with the 4th of July being on a Monday this year, it's not going to, the holiday's really not going to go against it, but maybe they're thinking that people are going to be traveling and they're just not going to get what they want. But anyway, that movie is coming out, and I thought it was a perfect time for us to talk about a subgenre that I'm a big fan of, and actually goes into quite a few different movies that you wouldn't even think fall into this category. But we're going to talk about alien invasion movies this week.
Hell yeah.
But because, I mean, anyone who's seen the first Independence Day, and it's not really a spoiler because the movie's been out for 20 years, but it has to do with aliens coming to Earth and basically attacking Earth and trying to take us out. And I've always found that idea just extremely interesting, because I've always wondered, like, why so, like, if another, I guess, race had the ability to travel light years across the planet, then they would probably be coming here for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting to me that they are probably looking for something.
And this is like the opposite of like a Close Encounters also, you know?
Right.
This is just, or an E.T., this is you die.
Well, yeah, they came here and they're looking to, take our planet or whatever. I don't even know if did they ever have a motive? Because I think when they were talking to him, they have that really cool scene where they take those tentacles and use the human's vocal cords to talk. And his whole thing was like, "What do you want from us?" And he just says, "To die,"
which is like one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because I mean, like, I think they're just painting them as this cold, calculated, bloodthirsty like nemesis. You know, I mean, if you're gonna make these extraterrestrials the antagonists for the film, just have it be the cold-blooded villain and out of like your stock action movie. I mean, and this was like one of the biggest summer blockbusters like ever. Still is to this day. I mean, when that came out, that was like the big movie.
The poster alone was amazing. And what happens is, at the beginning of the movie, all these alien ships start coming in from the clouds, and then they hover over like the center of all these major cities throughout the world. And that's what I like about it. It's not just, usually it's like, oh, America has to fight these things off. This was the entire world.
Yeah.
And so, South Africa, Moscow, London, all these places, and several throughout America, and they just wait for this countdown, which, of course, Jeff Goldblum finds this because he's a genius.
Because he's Jeff Goldblum.
And they just set off this explosion and just decimate all these major American cities and world cities in their attack, which actually is like, it's kind of ingenious if you're thinking about it. It's like you're basically taking out the giant cities, and then you're just going down and down and down.
It's like this like really like astoundingly huge and terrifying terrorist attack, just global terrorism attack.
Well, I also think Jeff Goldblum's character said it best when he talked about the fact that it's basically a chess movement. It's basically they're playing chess with these giant ships, and I mean, I enjoyed it. Now, it's still to this day, it's a movie I can put on and just have fun with it. Will Smith is fantastic. I think this is kind of the movie that just shot him into superstardom.
It was, well, okay. It was a 1-2 punch, I'm still going to argue, because the summer before that, in 1995, we got Michael Bay's classic Bad Boys.
But
But no, here's the thing.
it wasn't as big.
No, it wasn't. But that was the thing that kind of set up that, hey, he is not just the Fresh Prince. That he could be like a action star, sex symbol, like a leading man. And then Independence Day was sort of like the Hadouken that sealed the deal.
No, absolutely. But I think for him, Independence Day could have been a defining moment in both ways, where it could have been what catapulted him into this giant superstar, blockbuster star, and it also could have killed his career.
Yeah, it could have been like a John Carter on Mars or something.
Yeah.
If it failed. And the movie, you're right, the movie holds up incredibly well. The effects, good for their time, still feel a little dated sometimes, but it's an enormously entertaining movie, and it is kind of like the perfect summer blockbuster. And few people can destroy landmarks like Roland Emmerich.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think it's the first summer blockbuster I remember going to see, or at least the first one that I realized was a summer blockbuster.
It depends. Are you going to count Jurassic Park?
See, I was at the age when that came out that I didn't really go to the movies, and I didn't acknowledge
Okay,
it.
yeah, because that was the big one, and that was a few years prior.
That came out June 11th, 1983, or 1993.
Yep, I remember that one. But no, I think that, yeah, you're right. I mean, at the time, this was like the biggest movie of its time.
It was a huge deal, and I'm surprised with how well that movie did, and how as well it's regarded by fans that it's taken 20 years to come out with a sequel. Are you surprised it's taken that long?
Yeah, I kind of feel like, well, here's the thing. Sequels weren't necessarily as big of a thing back then as they were. It's like, I'm not saying, yeah, of course there were sequels. Like, they did Jurassic Park. Well, of course you got to do Lost World when something's successful. It would have made sense if they capitalized on that, but you had a lot of like one-offs that were really successful that just never spawned franchises back then. Like Twister was another one. They could have made, I mean, how many times are you going to do a tornado just destroying stuff? But when a movie's successful, the whole thing is, let's make more money off of it. Nowadays, I mean, I even just saw a trailer that was released, I think, today or yesterday for The Mechanic 2, Jason Statham's new movie. And, like,
Really?
don't get me wrong, I kind of am a Jason Statham apologist. Like, I love everything that he does to varying degrees. I liked the first movie. It wasn't great, but that was several years ago, and I don't really think it was anything anyone was, like, begging for a sequel for, and all of a sudden, they're doing another one. It's like they're, it's like doing a Transporter sequel, but, like, way later. My point is, and I just saw that they're doing another Da Vinci Code movie, Inferno, the third one, which those seem pretty spread out, those Tom Hanks movies. I think that there's a thing going on nowadays of you have a bunch of sequels that maybe not everybody's asking for. Like the studios are just thinking, oh, well, this made a little bit of money, let's kind of keep this property going. Or if anything makes like a shit ton of money, they immediately rush a sequel. Everything is all about pre-existing franchises and properties. Let's adapt even if you're doing a comic book movie. Okay, well, Doctor Strange has never been on screen before, but of course it's in the Marvel Universe, we're going to adapt that. It's like there's no new things. It's just constantly trying to find a way to piggyback off of franchises, and now we have all this stuff which we kind of talked about a few episodes back about like rebootquels or whatever, where like Mad Max Fury Road, you're getting like these sequels to stuff that hasn't existed in a while. Independence Day falls under that. A sequel would have been probably a better time to do a while ago, but at the same time I also think they're like, let's go into something that people like so we know that we have a guaranteed it will make at least some money.
Well, I also think they look at it this way. They don't look at it as they're going for the original fan base, but not as much. They're going for the original fan base who now are 20 years older and probably have kids. And this is kind of a PG-13-esque like action fun movie, and so they're going to want to go see it. Yeah. And they're going to bring their kids in to see it. So you're getting two generations of people to where if you just did a sequel, it would just be the fans of that movie. And now you're getting a whole different generation. So you get more people, more tickets, more money sold. So I think that's probably their idea behind it. Had that not even been an option, I don't think we would have ever gotten a sequel behind this movie because it really wraps itself up nicely. But I honestly, normally when the movies that have been falling into this category, like Dumb and Dumber 2, Zoolander 2, like a lot of those, I the originals are classics in their own ways, but I had no interest whatsoever in seeing their sequels. This is different. I actually kind of want to see this sequel, and I don't know if it's because it's an action movie
I do
or if
too.
it's a sci-fi movie, but I'm interested to see where these characters have gone since then. And I guess it's not a surprise. Will Smith's character does not return in the film, but Jeff Goldblum's going to be back. Bill
Pullman.
I want to call him Bill Paxton. I think it would be great if Bill Paxton was in that movie.
So many Bills.
But Bill Pullman's in it. I'm interested to see where everything's gone, because they have a website that kind of will let you know where the timeline in this universe has gone.
Yeah, which is really cool. I think the marketing and like the strategy behind it is actually fairly on point. The thing I like about it is if you're going to dig up like something that didn't have a sequel jumped on it like right away, that you're sort of like rebooting it, but you're not remaking it. Mm-hmm. It's like a reboot and a continuation of the storyline. I like that they're playing it off that it's 20 years later and it's been 20 years. It almost has like that real-time effect, like Jeff Goldblum is 20 years older, playing his character 20 years older, and it feels like, all this time, it feels like that there's a narrative and there's a purpose rather than, them having to jump around in time with the story or pretend it's the time that it's not. I think even though they recast, Mad Max Fury Road kind of did the same thing, where it's like, okay, we're, getting to see a story that happened, down the road, like where you kind of like revisit and you do a different story with these characters to different degrees that you know and you love, and introduce new ones, like another new one that we're getting, Micah Monroe, making kind of a blockbuster debut, I think, unless I missed something in this, from It Follows and The Guest, as I think she plays Bill Pullman's daughter from what I can gather from the trailer. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool because we're bringing like some fresh blood into the mix, but we also have the returning surviving characters. Now, one thing I'm kind of confused about, it's been a while since I've seen the first Independence Day, but Brent Spiner is back in this. Correct me if I'm wrong, I have not seen this movie in years. Did he not die? I thought I remembered him getting killed, and I'm sure if you're listening to this right now and you watched the movie recently or have a better memory in it than I, you're like, haha, Toby, you are wrong. But for some reason I remembered him dying, and I was like, how is he in this movie? But I don't know.
The magic of movies and contracts, man.
I need to rewatch the original.
The same reason Will Smith's not in this movie. It could be a flashback, it could be a dream sequence, it could be a million different things. But he's in there. And,
it's because he was doing Suicide Squad. That's why he's not in here. Mm-hmm. Originally from what I heard, I think he wanted to do it, but he was already committed to Suicide Squad, and they couldn't push production back. I think they were really trying to capitalize on the 20-year thing. Mm-hmm. So they just went ahead and did it. At least they're acknowledging. They're not like...
Yeah, I wish they would have brought him in for at least a cameo or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you do with him. Maybe, okay, this is going to sound kind of bad, but what I would have done with him is have him in one scene and have something to the fact that when he went on the ship, I don't know how you explained that Jeff Goldblum didn't get it, but something he interacted with, or him when he punched the alien outside of the suit, that he got some sort of disease, like cancerous type of disease, and he's on his deathbed.
Yeah, actually, here's the thing. They referenced in the trailer, they showed in the trailer that he died, mm-hmm. like you said. Have him in the movie, like in the opening scene, like he dies, and almost like it kicks off a chain of events or something like that.
Yeah, from what I've seen is, based on the new trailer, is they've taken this technology, which of course they would. Of course they take this technology that's far more advanced than their own, and
they reverse engineer it.
Yeah, and they try to figure it out. So now they have all this technology that they're ready in case it comes back. But what they don't know, what they don't think about is, but these guys had that technology, and now it's 20 years from then.
Yeah,
because it's just like. It's like when you see those videos of kids playing Nintendo, and they're just like, what is this? But to us, they're like, that was amazing at the time. But to them, it's such a piece of garbage. It's the same way we look at Pong. Mm-hmm. Like, we're like, that was fun, but our parents are like, holy shit, Pong was the shit. You don't understand how much pussy I got from playing Pong. I had a machine and they just came over and pussy everywhere.
Here's the thing, even in its heyday, I'm fairly certain no one has ever uttered those words except for you right now.
That's probably true. Yeah. That's probably 100% true. But
I want that to be a t-shirt, Pussy Pong.
Yeah, I think that should be a movie, just about a guy who just gets laid all the time because he has a Pong. He's the first guy to get the Pong set from the store.
Fund it
right now. You check it out on Indiegogo. I want $259,000 for it, and we're gonna make it, and it's gonna be beautiful.
I'm sure that sounds like a really specific amount.
Well, I got it all kind of mapped out on what I need.
You've already pre-budgeted this. Good for you.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go for this. But so anyway, it looks like they're coming back and they're bringing more and more stuff. It's kind of interesting. It looks like there's some sort of like giant versions of the aliens in a way. I don't know if you noticed that.
Well, even the ships are bigger this time. It's like, well, here's the thing. The general rule of thumb for a sequel is everything has to be bigger and badder. Mm-hmm. Like, like your action scenes, if you had 5 action scenes, you better have 10 big ones in this. If you had like a villain, that was like, whatever size and bloodthirsty, they better be twice as maniacal in the second one. Like you always had sequels
too.
Exactly. Sequels were always like eye patched up, bigger, badder, crazier, louder, turned up. If it was 11, it better be at 15 now. Mm-hmm. And where's that line in the trailer when it's like, it's over the Atlantic. Which part? And he's like, all of it. That it's like the ships are so big, it's basically, I mean, so it's like, how do you fight that? Because you're thinking, if you manage to shoot that down and it crashes into the planet, we're dead anyway.
And from what I've heard, they're actually talking about a trilogy. They're talking about they're going to make a third one after this one.
I had heard that originally this was supposed to be like a part 1, part 2, kind of like The Matrix or Kill Bill or something. But then that went out the window. But I heard originally they were shooting 2 of them concurrently, and it was going to be part 1, pause, part 2. But I mean, I'm kind of glad that we're getting it all at once. But yeah, I think they're gonna. I mean, if it makes money. Like I said, the way that things are now, if something makes money, they're going to keep on it and milk that shit until it's dry, until people don't pay to go see it anymore.
No, absolutely, and that's what they're going to try to do with this. And I'm kind of curious to see where it goes, and I'm going to go see it.
I know. I think it looks good. I'm actually really excited for this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun movie. But that's going to kind of bring us on to our topic for this week, because I want to talk about just the vast, just how many different movies, how many great movies are alien invasion movies, and it's something that you wouldn't even think. Like if you break it down, The Avengers is an alien Avengers movie.
Absolutely, it's Loki and his alien army. I mean, and it works great. But yeah, you start to think about it, you're like, oh, it's a comic book movie, that's a superhero movie. It's like, well, it's kind of that and an alien invasion movie too.
Mm-hmm. And just there's a couple of them from the 80s had some great ones. The 50s was really big because of the time frame and kind of the atomic age of films was big on alien type movies. And then you got classics like The Day the Earth Stood Still, which is just fantastic. Not the one with
Keanu.
Keanu, that one doesn't count.
And then Invasion of the Body Snatchers, another classic.
I like that one, but I actually kind of prefer the remake in the 70s. Like they're both fantastic to me.
I'm with you on that one. So don't worry, if they hate you, they hate me.
But I mean, even like
you're talking about the one with Donald Sutherland, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
he's fantastic.
Yeah, that one's great.
That's a fun movie. And then you go on to things that you got stuff like They Live with Roddy Piper, the John Carpenter film.
Hey, come on, baby.
100%, man. That is an alien invasion movie. Men in Black. You go to the comedy realm, or Mars Attacks with Tim Burton, which kind of gets a lot of hate. I actually kind of like that movie. What did you think of Mars Attacks?
Mars Attacks, it was fun. I actually think that it was a joke that was sort of like at the wrong time. I mean, that thing was very much in line with my sense of humor, and actually I think a movie like Mars Attacks would probably play better today than it would have when it came out back then. Mm-hmm. Just the way that people respond to humor. I got it, but I don't think a lot of people did.
And I don't think that's what they were expecting for him, because it's kind of weird. Tim Burton, to me, like, everyone's kind of roped him into he's a horror director. He's never made a horror movie, though. He never has. He's made quirky, dark films.
He's made gothic films, I would argue.
Yeah, but he's not a horror director.
Edward Scissorhands.
But they all have this quirkiness to them. Like, everything. Like,
you know what the closest thing I would argue to horror that he's done is? Well, Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow is kind of a horror movie to me.
Yeah.
And Sweeney Todd, it's about a serial killer. So it's like if you're going to call Silence of the Lambs a horror movie, you kind of have to be able to call that one a little bit.
They're not frightening.
No, but you know what actually was in a really but still not frightening. It was frightening but not frightening. Frankenweenie. Not the remake. I'm talking his original short film.
No, you're right.
Not like the new one or whatever. But that I always thought that one held up really well.
But really, if you look at his stuff like Beetlejuice, it's a comedy. Yeah. It's got horror elements in it, but it's really a comedy. Or Pee-wee's Big Adventure, comedy. Mm-hmm. It's got a little, like the Large March things. Like that scared me when I was a kid. Yeah. But he's not really a horror director, and I think that's what hurt him when he went in and did when Mars Attacks, because I think people, Mars Attacks, they're expecting this type of like scary type movie, and but that's not really what he does. And he went a little more into the realm of comedy and almost like Looney Tunes slapstick in a way. Yeah, and really, I don't think people really enjoyed it.
No, I just thought it was a really creative satire, but I think it was kind of ahead of its time. I
was. I think it holds up much better now than what it does at the time.
Yeah, where like it's one of those where it just doesn't really do too well at its time of release, but gains a cult following over time. Now, there's one that's a fairly personal favorite of mine, which I'm sure that you're probably going to be on my team on this one, The Abyss.
The Abyss is fantastic. That's a James Cameron film.
Yeah.
And he just has a way. It's weird to watch James Cameron's stuff because you almost can't say, well, he made this during this time frame. His stuff holds up so good.
Yeah.
That you don't.
Except for Avatar.
Well, sorry. Honestly, I watched. I can't even say I watched it once. I've seen pieces of Avatar. I've never seen it.
Have you seen Dances with Wolves?
Well, I heard it was.
Have you seen Fern Gully: The
That's
Last
what
Rainforest?
That's what I heard. It was Fern Gully meets Dances with Wolves. is
But
basically what happened.
but with characters that were like if a Smurf and a Thundercat had sex.
The logistics of that just sounds terrible.
It is. It's Thunder Smurfs and Fern Gully. Dances with Thunder Smurfs and Fern Gully: The Last Rainforest.
Papa Smurf. No, I'm Brock Turner Smurf.
Oh no, Smurf rape.
I did it. I did it.
You did it. Another recent one that I was a huge fan of, which really bombed at the box office, but I wish it done better. Edge of Tomorrow.
That was
movie
fantastic.
Was the shit.
That was one of the most interesting concepts in a movie I've ever seen. If you haven't seen it,
See it.
spoiler alert right now. But Tom Cruise is like a public affairs type, marketing type person in the army, and anyone who's been in the military. These people exist, and they don't do anything. They have a job, and their job is very important, but it's not. They don't fight. That's not their thing, and he's basically forced into battle, and he's basically told because this is a multi. It's not just like America's fighting. Another one where it's the world, and he goes to Europe, and it's very World War II-ish.
Yeah, and
and
the thing about that is that actually ties directly into what we were just talking about a little bit ago about like. Look what happens whenever they take a chance on a original property. Edge of Tomorrow now is kind of like almost something to an Independence Day back then, where it's something new, but it just didn't connect. Like audiences want pre-established. That's probably actually why we're getting an Independence Day, is because movies like Edge of Tomorrow do not do well.
And that's really sad. And the original title for that movie was called All You Need Is Kill.
Yeah,
which
is
I
great.
loved.
And
I thought that's such an interesting, weird title.
And then you put out Edge of Tomorrow, and do you notice they even tried to rebrand that when it came out on Blu-ray and DVD because it didn't do well, and they made the tagline for the movie bigger than the title, and it said Live, Die, Repeat, and then it had Edge of Tomorrow really tiny, and people started to call the movie Live, Die, Repeat.
I thought
they were trying to rebrand it.
I saw a poster for it, and I was like, oh, they changed the name again?
No, it was just marketing fuck up.
And that's really sad because that's a really fantastic movie.
What
happens? He gets they're fighting aliens, and he gets put into the infantry, and he comes out, and right away he gets attacked by one of them, and he gets killed. But then he wakes up and he keeps repeating. It's like Groundhog's Day meets like Independence Day.
Yeah, it's like a sci-fi action Groundhog's Day.
And he keeps repeating the day. And what's fantastic about it is that he finds a way. He keeps learning things, and he keeps repeating the same day. So his skills are getting better and better, and you get to see him progressing through time. Because apparently there's something with these certain aliens that just. If you get their blood or whatever on you, you just keep repeating, and you're in a loop cycle. It's fantastic idea, and it's
really
done,
really clever,
and it's a fun movie. In fact, I may just go watch that tonight.
Actually, yeah, we're talking about it. I want to see it again too. And something weird, not to backtrack, but I just realized something.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about The Abyss and James Cameron movies. Even though it's not an alien invasion movie, it's weird how like Terminator and Terminator 2 play exactly like alien invasion movies, but with robots.
No, it absolutely.
I mean, like
is.
it's sort of like his thing is like he's almost doing it, which you could argue. You said The Avengers was Age of Ultron is exactly the same thing. It's just replaced aliens with robots in that one.
Which I think that's why people didn't really care for that one as much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was the exact same movie. But like, it's weird because it's like I would argue. If they weren't robots, Terminator 2 is laid out exactly like an alien invasion movie.
And let's talk about that a little bit. We're getting off topic, but we're talking about, to me, you talked about yourself when we talk about sequels. Sequels have to come forth and be bigger and better than the first one.
Exactly.
Now, when we're talking about Avengers, and we have an alien invasion, and then you put that up against just robots, I felt that was a step back.
Yeah, I do too. Like, I kind of feel like maybe they were... There's been a lot of back and forth with, the whole, like, the comments that, Whedon has made about... how it was dealing with Marvel to get that made. I think that there were too many agendas at play in that one, and maybe they were trying to step back and focus on, a little more intimate, like, breakdown of the unit of the Avengers, because the Avengers was all about them coming together, and this is sort of almost like a deconstruction leading towards, like, what was going to ultimately come with Civil War. It was, scope-wise, it felt like a step back. It could have been done well. Here's the thing. I watched it again recently. It gets better on repeated viewings for me. Mm-hmm. It's a movie that holds up better, but that initial viewing I just did not like.
I didn't care for it either, and but I think, okay, put it this way: it's like you see Batman and he takes on the Joker, and then the next movie.
Where do you go from there?
The next movie you're like, oh, he's taking on the Mad Hatter,
yeah.
or I mean, the way they did it in the Dark Knight trilogy, he takes on Bane. Bane's a cool character.
No, he is a great character.
But you can't. He's not as. Like,
it was living in the shadow of we don't have Joker.
You can't. The Joker set the bar so high because
that's the final boss.
Yeah, exactly. That's the final boss, and you put it on in the second game, which I understand why you did it. Which I heard originally that Batman Begins was not going to be a trilogy, and they actually that card was a nod going into the original film. It was what it was supposed to be.
I didn't know that.
That's what I had originally heard, and then it did so well that they're like, oh, the next one's going to be about the Joker. Because he was planning on making another one, but he did not plan on making it about the Joker. That was supposed to be a nod to the Tim Burton film. But, yeah, someone said, oh my God, you're doing the Joker, and someone with money said, oh, no, we are doing the Joker.
Oh, we absolutely are. And then we got, Ledger's amazing final performance.
Oh my God. Fantastic. It's crazy. Another one that we're getting back on our topic, and we have to talk about a movie that was marketed completely not as an alien invasion movie, not at all. But when you when you saw it, it was fantastic, and it made it. I don't know. It made the movie even better, even though I knew it was going to be one. And that's the Edgar Wright film, The World's End, with Simon Pegg.
Oh, I love that movie. It's an alien invasion movie about a pub crawl. It's
my
so
God.
great. It's just drinking, and that's a movie you drink to.
And and I think we talked about this movie when we were talking about our drinking movies, in one of our other episodes. But we're bringing it back because this movie is so fantastic and so much fun. It's an alien invasion movie, but it's centered around a pub crawl. And how freaking cool is that? And it's one of the modern alien invasion movies here that once again is not necessarily just a sci-fi movie. It's also a comedy, and I see it. That's the cool thing I think with alien invasion movies is you have tons of those where you have sci-fi action, you have sci-fi horror invasion movies, you have sci-fi comedy. Yeah.
Well, and this one is like, I mean, a laugh out loud comedy. Like, I thought it was fucking hilarious, and it's fun, and I love the way Edgar Wright directs, and like just his images, like they're great. But I think what kind of caught me off guard was like there was actually a profound little level of heart in that movie. At the end, it has this great social commentary on like the inability to grow up and be an adult and accept responsibility, and just sort of like hanging on, desperately clinging to your youth. It actually had this weird, relatable, like story element that I think a lot of people, like probably in our generation or like a little bit before, a little, or even a little behind, can definitely relate to, and just like the modern day. So it was weird. It kind of snuck up on me that movie had as much heart as it did, but it was still hilarious. And it was also a drinking movie about an alien invasion.
Yeah, and another one that I thought was I kind of put it in the same category in a way. Yeah, I mean, it's a completely different movie, but it's probably because it's also kind of a European type movie, is Attack of the Block.
Okay, and here you caught me. I have not seen it yet.
It's good.
I wanted to for a long time, but I can't really chime in because it's one of those that's been on my radar. I just never got around to watching it.
Well, we won't talk too much. Maybe we'll make it a movie we'll check out and we'll review one of these times. But Attack of the Block is fantastic. It actually has Nick Frost in it too, and it's a really visual, fun movie. And I think it's kind of one of the. It's not a huge budget movie. When I first saw it come out, I was like. Just the creature design and everything on it was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, well, another one that I hate to say that I haven't seen and I want to, and I've heard nothing but brilliant things about it, is Under the Skin.
Oh, it's Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, which I actually own it and have yet to watch it, but no, like I've heard nothing but good things about that, and I kind of felt like it was maybe like a more well done artistic version of Species, from what I gathered, which I remember being a big fan of for different reasons back in the day.
I was going to talk when I was talking about the different subgenres of invasion movies. Is Species a romantic sci-fi?
It's an erotic thriller.
It's an erotic sci-fi invasion movie.
All I know is that back in the day in high school, that was like the hottest thing I'd ever seen.
Ever. It didn't matter.
What was that thing on South Park where they're like, we play a game called Pretend That You're Natasha Henstridge, where I pretend that you're Natasha Henstridge, and you pretend that I'm Natasha Henstridge, and we're touching. And it was like Matt and Trey, and they were like touching each other. It was like one of the intro to like on the South Park VHS tapes back in the day. I just thought that was hilarious for some reason.
That's too funny. All right, now a thing that is interesting about when aliens come to Earth, and is I always find, because they're different than us, and they have different abilities, and sometimes like they're easy to kill or really hard to kill. And here's a couple of examples that are polar opposites. And one of my favorite sci-fi films, and that's from the 50s again, is The Blob. with Steve
Yeah.
McQueen. Although I do think it's funny that Steve McQueen obviously looks like he's in his 40s, and he's playing a teenager. And it's like if you look at him next to his parents, he's obviously the same age, if not a little bit older than his parents. And I find that ridiculous. But that's what it was.
Casting.
He's a heartthrob. He can be as old as they want him to be. But the idea of this unstoppable object that's just you don't know how to stop it, and it just comes after you and will eat you and absorb you, and you really don't know. Like, it's just like a roll of gelatin. How do you kill that? Like, fire doesn't work. Bullets don't work.
I think you eat it. You
That's
turn it into poo.
no, that's the stuff.
That's true. That is the stuff.
That's the stuff. You can't do that.
I mean, it's
zombify
not
you.
like it's like a ghost, like it's Slimer. So
Mhm.
you can't. Yeah, you just did. You don't. The blob wins.
And that to me is terrifying when you have something like that, because normally you look at like, okay, a bear's coming at me. Well, if I have a gun, I can shoot the bear, or if I have a knife, I can stab the bear. It's not the best idea,
Yeah.
but you have.
Well, we saw how that
options.
worked out for Leo in The Revenant.
Yeah. So, but you have options that you can hurt this. The blob was one of those that I just thought there's no way to hurt this, and that's terrifying to me. It's slow moving, but you can run away, but eventually it's going to catch you. It's kind of that It Follows.
You're
kind
gonna
of
get
thing.
tired.
Yeah, there's rewatched recently It Follows, and that's kind of a similar thing. It's like you
Yeah.
can't really run away. It's always coming after you.
Yeah.
And going on from that, I want to talk about the other spectrum of that, and the complete opposite, and one of the worst alien invasion movies, in my opinion, that's ever been created, and that's Signs.
Okay. This is the part where you kicked me off the show because I haven't seen it in a very, very long time. But what I remember from when I saw it, I remember that being one of the few M. Night Shyamalan movies I actually enjoyed. And I think I'm in the minority.
Here's my problem with it, okay? And this is what I'm going to say about it. I think the movie has some suspenseful moments and some really good things in it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the problem I have with it. And we're talking about a race and a species of alien that has been able to travel across the galaxy. And so they've probably been able, they've sent, what do we do? What do we do when we see something in space? We send a probe. And we're like, oh, that's what's going on. It sends back information.
Yep.
So we can get on that. We can figure that. And they came to Earth. And people like bitch about this. And they're like, water kills them. That's like me going to hot acid planet to take it over. Like we're almost all water. We're not only most all water on the surface, it falls from the sky. Like seriously, that's what to me, because Shyamalan was, I think he had a big hit with The Sixth Sense, and then he got in this pigeonhole of thinking he had to come up with these twists the whole time. And he had the girl, Mel Gibson's daughter in this, she's always leaving around glasses of water. He's always getting on her about it, and that's the big twist to how they figure it out, is because they hit it. It knocks over a glass of water and it burns it, and then they just start throwing all these, hitting it with baseball bats and just attacking this thing. But it's just like, how stupid is that?
Now you're describing it, and I'm remembering, and I'm thinking, why did I like that? So
Yeah,
maybe if I watch it again, I'll probably hate
I'm
it.
just thinking, how stupid is that? Like, they're supposed to be the species that had the technology to go across the galaxy and get here through interstellar travel, but they came to a place that is 70% made of material that will kill them.
I'm going to argue the exact same thing about War of the Worlds, man. Like, that was the exact same thing. Like, I mean, even though that was, like, true to how it was in the original radio
Here's
cast,
the difference. This is the difference. What does a cold look like? That's completely different to me.
Okay.
Because that's a disease that works now.
It's like a shitty immune system. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
because you're not used to it. So something that we have all the time.
Still an
is,
anticlimactic ending.
Right. But I liked it, and I thought it was smart because it's number one, it's something you can't see.
I like how it was staged and shot. Are we talking about Spielberg's, or are we talking about the original?
Oh, we're talking about the original.
Okay.
But the thing is, with the cold, it to me that's genius, because if I went to another planet, I don't know about the cold. I don't know what they have there, and it may be something it's even harmless to them.
Alien syphilis, it'll wipe you out.
Right, but aliens aren't immune to it, so that it's fatal to them, and that to me is fantastic writing.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that
This
one.
is M. Night Shyamalan trying to do the cold bit, only being an idiot, because you can't see a cold, you can't plan for a cold, but you can plan for the blue stuff.
Okay, that's fine. But you also are talking about the same guy that down the road was eventually going to give us The Happening, or what was it? Is that
where the trees made everyone commit suicide?
Is that what it was? The Happening, the Mark Wahlberg one?
Yeah.
You guys, these plants, they're trying to kill us.
What's going on?
What's going on? What? Are you kidding? We gotta get out of here.
I don't know. I think it's just The Happening.
You guys, I think I found a transformer.
Oh my god.
So,
Speaking
of Transformers,
that's another one.
Well, yeah, okay, Transformers, Alien Invasion. Here's the thing: everybody always said when they made fun of me for how much I love Transformers still to this day from my childhood. I'm like, it's alien ninja robots that turn into cars and try to murder each other. How do you not love this?
God bless the Japanese.
I mean, really, it all is. It's just alien ninja robots. But yeah, total alien invasion. We probably won't get on this too much because I know if we go too far, you're going to get into hating it, and then that'll be a whole separate conversation.
No, but going along the same lines of that is another movie that is kind of off the same idea.
I think we're thinking of the same thing here.
And it's Pacific Rim. And what's so interesting
Pacific Rim was amazing.
And cool about that movie is it was they didn't come from the sky. And they even mentioned that it was one of the coolest monologues in the opening of, like, they thought, aliens were going to come from the sky, and they actually come from a portal within the ocean, which I thought was kind of interesting and different.
That was really cool. And then, you get, like, this whole, like, Godzilla-esque thing of them, like, emerging from the water, and Pacific Rim just hit all the right notes for me. At the time that I saw it, it was just exactly what I wanted. It was tons of fun. Like, Del Toro directed the shit out of that movie, and the action is amazing. I mean,
I was a little disappointed that it didn't get enough play that it should have. And I think when that movie got made, that's when people were like, "Oh, we can make Godzilla now."
You know what? That's another Edge of Tomorrow thing.
Yeah.
Like if someone tries to do something. I mean, granted, you could say original. Okay, well, it basically is like Godzilla.
Yeah,
but it's still
instead of having an original Godzilla-esque story, they decided we'll just go make Godzilla now.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that these good movies don't get the support that they need just kind of sucks. But
and a lot of that comes out of sci-fi, just really cool original stories.
Okay, if you want to get back and get weird. If you want to get weird for a minute, we could go
Peter,
back to
Peter
like
Jackson weird.
Peter Jackson weird. Peter Jackson early heyday weird. The thing that when everybody is like, "Hey, this guy named Peter Jackson is directing Lord of the Rings," I'm like, "Do you mean the guy that made Bad Taste?"
Oh my goodness,
Bad fucking Taste.
My art teacher in high school told me about Bad Taste, and he told me
that is the good damn teacher.
As he put it, he goes, because we used to go kayaking like on the weekends and stuff and hang out, and he said, if you want to see the worst, because I told him that, I just saw the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And he goes, really, what was it? I go, it was called Redneck Zombies. And he goes, oh, I've heard of that. He goes, that's not the worst movie ever made. There's a movie called Bad Taste. This is the worst movie.
He is wrong. That movie is not bad. It's amazing. Peter Jackson dives into the mouth of an alien, if I remember correctly, at the end with a chainsaw, goes through his mouth, chainsaws his way out of the alien's butt, is covered in blood, stands up and says, "I've been reborn," or something like that. Everything about that movie is stand up and clap.
I guess my art teacher just took a couple of credibility hit points, because that sounds fantastic.
Wait, you have not seen Bad Taste?
I have not.
Okay.
Because he told me it was so bad. And you couldn't get, where I grew up, there was like 2 video stores, and we didn't get obscure things.
Okay, so you do realize that there absolutely is going to be a future episode where we watch that and get your reaction in real time watching this movie.
I love it.
Okay.
I would love to do a running commentary of Bad Taste.
It's amazing.
But I'll kind of along the same lines of campy, like kind of low budget types. Another one, and it has a huge cult following. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Okay, man, we seem to be ping-ponging here. One that I've always known about, again, that I've never seen, and I kind of hate to admit that I haven't seen it.
Well, I understand. But it's a goofy movie about clowns coming to invade us. There's not much to say about it. It's ridiculous.
Oh, no, I think I get what it's about from the title.
Yeah, there's hilarious kills. They've been talking about making a sequel or a remake of this for years now. I don't think they should. Just leave it as it is. But it's kind of it's a fun type movie that kind of goes in that same category as Mars Attacks, only a little more on the dark horror side, because they're all murderous and it's not cute.
Well, yeah.
But even I guess if you look at it like movie like Superman, Man of Steel, that's an alien invasion movie.
Superman's totally an alien.
Yeah.
Okay, another one I was a big fan of, Monsters.
Monsters
was pretty awesome.
Monsters is it's fun. It's a good movie, but I'll tell you, if you're talking about probably fun, enjoyable children alien invasion movies, and it comes from our probably I don't know, like elementary, close to middle school days.
Yeah.
You got to talk about Space Jam.
You're goddamn right.
So
I believe I can fly.
and hopefully the SpaceJam.com is still up, which is the most fantastic website ever created. Is for years that was the thing. SpaceJam.com. If you've never heard, you're looking at me like you don't know the story.
I do not know what you're talking about.
When it came out, they had like a website when the internet was in its infancy, and it never got updated. So it still looks like it's one of the first websites ever made.
Oh, we're going to that the second this podcast is over.
And I don't remember if it's still up, but it's fantastic. It's kind of become this cult legend thing that is absolutely fantastic.
Okay, I gotta say, one that was a huge guilty pleasure for me, and I still think is a shit ton of fun. The Faculty.
Oh, that's Robert Rodriguez.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing. I love me some Robbie Rod, but The Faculty. I just thought that was. Come on, we got Elijah Wood, we got Josh Hartnett, like kind of like back in his heyday a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that movie was so much fun, and also it was kind of brilliant in that at the end, you know how like most things try to have a good message, like kids don't do drugs. Remember that scene where they were all trying to figure out who was the alien? They had to do. It was kind of like the thing where they had to test or whatever, and it's like whoever did the drug, if it hurt them, they were an alien. So it's like they had to do drugs to figure out who was not infected. And I'm like, that's kind of brilliant.
Well, I think it's kind of a I don't know, a metaphor for when you're in your early 20s or your late teens.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do drugs to figure out who you are.
Oh yeah. Wait, does that supposed to stop when you're in your teens?
Well, if you never figure out who you are, you just keep going.
You just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, well then that's fine. You know another one that I was a big fan of, and I'm actually equal parts curious and hesitant to revisit it today, just because I'm wanting to see if it holds up, but I'm scared that it won't. But I loved back then, and I mean I've seen this movie from my childhood an embarrassing number of times. Remember that old Charlie Sheen movie, The Arrival?
I've never seen The Arrival.
Dude, that was one I used to watch over and over and over.
I know the poster because he's got like a goatee, right?
Yeah, and for some reason it was like the coolest little movie at the time for me, and I've seen that a bunch, and I kind of feel like if I revisit it now, I'd hate myself for ever liking it, but I don't know.
You know what I want to revisit? The Critters franchise.
Oh God, yeah, it's been so long.
That movie is ridiculous. It's like, and these aliens and they got bounty hunters after them, and it's just freaking absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. There's so many good ones. Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That's an alien invasion movie. It's
Absolutely.
the worst movie ever made.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic because it's that bad.
Oh, man, yeah. I'm trying to think of some other ones.
Do you remember Evolution? It's late 90s.
I know it. Again, one I never saw.
Late 90s. It's kind of interesting. It's got David Duchovny in it, and this is right off the hotness of the X-Files, and it's like they find these things and it like rapidly evolves. Like it's like almost you feel like it's a comedy playing off of like almost like a parody of X-Files, but it's not.
It almost feels like that and like Galaxy Quest feel like they're kind of bedfellows.
That Galaxy Quest is fantastic.
Yeah, no, Galaxy Quest is great. I mean, we haven't even talked about like stuff like Star Trek or something. Although I don't know if that's really invasion because you're more going and exploring and another.
Yeah,
we're talking about things coming to Earth.
Yeah, that's why I can't consider.
Yeah, you're right.
Any of the alien movies as invasion movies because I feel to be a alien invasion movie, then the aliens have to be coming to Earth or coming to wherever they are.
I 100% agree with you, but I know that there's two films that we have not talked about that would probably fall in line with Alien that are exactly that.
Oh no, I'm absolutely. I'm aware. I'm aware of these.
Okay, I figure. Well, shit. What was the other one I was thinking of? Before we get there.
Well, Sphere. Remember Sphere?
No, I know.
Sphere's not really.
Okay, yeah, Sphere.
Sphere doesn't fall in the category.
I don't really
or
think.
Event Horizon. Neither one of those fall in the category.
No, I know what I was going to say. You were mentioning something about X-Files. That first X-Files movie was actually pretty legit, and that was. I would classify that because they find it buried in the snow at the end.
Mm-hmm. And there's a Donald Sutherland movie from the 1994 that I love, and so many people have not seen it.
Please tell me you're talking about what I think you're talking
about.
about.
The Puppet Masters.
Yup.
That movie's fantastic, and it did not get a lot of play. And it was basically like aliens. They were a little like, I don't know how to even describe them. They look like leeches, and they just attach themselves at the base of the neck, and they use people exactly like puppets.
Yeah, it's like a little like organic chip or something.
And it was really really interesting. And
I remember loving that one.
And I would love to revisit that. I'd like to see if that's anywhere that I can find it.
I probably haven't seen that since, I don't know when, at some point in childhood.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Godzilla, is Godzilla like 2000? Is that considered an alien invasion movie?
Are you going to consider Godzilla an alien?
I think there are movies where, and I'm not a Godzilla expert, but I think there are movies where they invade, like monsters come in from other planets.
Just, if you play Godzilla in reverse, it's about a gentle giant that helps rebuild Tokyo and then just moonwalks back into the ocean.
Fantastic.
If you just watch the movie backwards,
I wish that was the thing.
It's a totally different story.
I wish that was the case.
Okay, I remember one that I was really excited about, and I was thinking it was going to be amazing, and I was just really disappointed by Battle Los Angeles. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, nobody thought that was going to be good. You were the only person.
No, I was excited for it. I thought the trailers were great, man. I thought the marketing for that movie was pretty much on point. And at the time, I kind of really liked what the director had been doing, so I don't know.
Yeah,
it was disappointing. I wanted it to be better.
The Deadly Spawn is that's a terrible movie.
The Andromeda Strain.
Okay,
that's a classic.
No,
that's like,
right.
Dude, and that was like one of my favorite books growing up.
No, you're right. But there's been so many really good invasion type stories, and even like The Grabbers. It didn't get a lot of play, but it was kind of a fun, quirky British film.
Oh God, Breeders.
Oh God, yeah, Breeders.
Here's the thing: they tried to do it, but Species got it right.
Yeah,
but that's because of Natasha Henstridge.
Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest invasion movie ever, Suburban Commando, starring the great Hulk Hogan.
And with that, I tap out. That wins. Absolutely.
How could I even? We should have had the show just about that.
We definitely should have led with that one.
You're a dead man, Ramsey. It's fantastic,
dude. Yeah, that was another childhood staple for me.
Christopher Lloyd. I mean, I was frozen today.
I'm sorry, I can't picture him talking to anybody unless their name is Marty.
No, absolutely. But so many great invasion movies, but I left two off.
I know, and I should have trusted you better, Johnny. I knew that eventually they were going to come up.
But two that are probably the most fantastic invasion movies ever made.
No, stop. Two of the most fantastic movies ever made.
No, you're
period.
right. You're right. And the difference between when we're talking about invasion movies, we're usually talking about a mass race taking over. Like Independence Day is like thousands upon even millions of these aliens coming in. Where it's a war.
Yeah.
But
make that more solitary, and you get something way more special.
And I'm talking about Predator.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. Can we though?
Can we?
Because God, what a good one. I mean, everything about that movie.
That is
one-on-one Mortal Kombat like perfection.
It's one of the best action movies I've ever seen. And if you haven't seen it, then why are you listening to this podcast? Because you need
bunch of slack jaw.
That's exactly what's going on here.
Stuff will make you goddamn sexual tyrants. That is easily one of the most quotable movies ever.
There's a T-shirt out there that is sexual tyrannosaurus chewing tobacco, and it's like a logo for it, and it's fantastic.
Why do we both not own that shirt?
I will absolutely own that shirt. I think it's because it was like $35. I didn't want to pay $35 for a T-shirt.
Well, here we'll get two, and I'll split the shipping with you.
Perfect.
That is amazing. But come on, like easily though, one of the most quotable movies ever.
Oh, it's so good.
You son of a bitch.
Get to the
CIA got
chopper.
you pushing too many pencils.
Yeah.
I have a Get to the Chopper shirt.
Perfect, and it's probably the most manly film ever. So we have a bunch of these mercenaries that have been hired by the U.S. government. They're government, ex-SEALs and all these things, and they've been brought in to just take out these guys and try to defuse a hostage situation. But it turns out, they were brought in really just to destroy these militants, and it's this whole thing. But then people just start dying,
and they see a strange shadow moving, even though it's like a clear shadow in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Little triangle red dots showing up on people, and then their heads blow up.
Do that again. bleed you. Quiet. Leave here.
Oh.
Oh, but anyway, yeah. So the predator, which
It's-
is an alien species that comes in and is hunting, looking for basically the best game.
It's basically surviving the game with an alien.
Reverse.
Yeah, in a great. I mean, it's like it just comes to this planet to hunt for sport.
Ice-T is a predator, and I just made that correlation now.
What?
Look at the predator. Look at Ice-T from surviving the game. Mind blown.
And the Inception sound.
Yeah,
oh
so
shit!
That movie, even the second one, and I honestly, we're not going to talk about the crossovers, but
We've already done that before.
yeah, but the second one with Danny Glover in the city, I thought was fantastic. I liked it, and this is it's kind of the humans invading, but when the humans invade their game preserve type planet.
Was that Predators?
Yeah, Predators.
I still haven't seen that one.
It's good. It's very, very good. I enjoy it. I thought it was. It had a few things here or there. I think they could have gone a little farther with it. The thing that I find most fascinating about that movie is it feels like you start in the second act. Which I thought was kind of different and interesting. But
Okay.
Predators to me is one of the most fantastic alien invasion movies I've ever seen. And then that puts us on to the next one.
The greatest, I'm going to argue.
Which is my favorite movie of all time. And that's John Carpenter's The Thing. And
Yeah.
that is you can't do suspense any better. You can't.
Here's the thing. There's not a single messed up in that movie. It is, I've always said before, like I have a short list of films I consider perfect films, and that's one of the tops. It's amazing.
Yeah, we have
It's brilliant.
all these characters who are working at this outpost station in Antarctica, and a dog shows up, and there's a Norwegian helicopter chasing it, trying to shoot it out, and they don't understand what the problem is. Well, it turns out that the dog is actually an alien creature that can absorb people and mimic them. And the whole thing is this cat and mouse game of trying to decide who's the alien and who's not. And
you have all these guys like surrounded like in a bunker in the middle of the Arctic. They like can't get out or go anywhere. So it's not like it's isolated, and they kind of like hole themselves in to hide and protect themselves from it. But you can't, because it starts infecting everybody there, and you start to think, okay, well, who can I trust? Who's human anymore? And that's great when you take a bunch of people and you put them in like an isolated space and you get them to kind of turn on each other.
Exactly, because they get to the point where they're trusting it. And my favorite scene in that movie, well, there's a couple of amazing scenes. One of the favorite ones is where everyone's tied down and they have their blood samples, and they're taking a.
That was that one. The faculty, I kind of felt like that was an homage to that.
Yeah, they're taking like basically like a hanger and lighting it on fire and getting it hot and then poking it in, because they've come to the idea that this thing is one organism, so all its parts still feel everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so and it's just like you're kind of like. You don't really know what's going on, and then they just put the metal in the one, and it just pops up out of nowhere. In between that scene and when the defibrillator scene, which to me still gets me every time.
Yeah.
And not just like as a jump scare. It's not a jump scare. It's just a great scare. But on top of that, the mechanics and the way they went on that movie is an award-winning achievement of why practical effects are amazing.
Yeah, and just Carpenter directed the shit out of that one. I know it's a remake, and some people are like, well, the original, but no, dude, Carpenter nailed everything.
The original's okay. His movie is way better. I'm gonna say
it's a masterpiece.
It's way better.
He has like Hitchcockian levels of like building of tension and suspense in that.
And talk about when we're talking about all these sequels popping up. Back in 2011, they made a prequel, which fucked up everything that was amazing about that movie. No,
didn't they like try to do some practical?
They did a lot of practical stuff, and then they came back in and said, "No, we're going to do this all with CGI. It does not look."
That was
good.
the same damn thing as like in The Hobbit. Whenever like they actually had like I read that even though they weren't great, like the main orc villain or whatever, he was a dude in like prosthetic makeup that looked great. Then afterwards, they're like, no, they just CG'd a character over him.
Yeah, and it's kind of. I don't know, it's such a waste. In that movie, and the thing about the filmmakers is they obviously had respect for Carpenter's movie, because if you go in and look at it, they did a lot of little details and tried to decide, like they went frame by frame when they go visit the Norwegian base and decided, okay, there's an axe at that door. How's that happen? And they wrote a scene about that, and they looked at every little thing. It's like, okay, this little molted creature together. It's actually not a bad double feature to watch. If you're really
Yeah,
a big fan.
I haven't seen that new prequel. I mean, I'm kind of curious now.
We should do that sometime. We'll do a double feature where we watch them back to back.
We've laid out a lot of movies we have to watch.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of things going on. But there's one movie that we forgot. And
before you do that, can I ask you a side question? Just
No,
while
go ahead.
we're talking about the thing, and we both have like our crazy man love for that movie. If it came down to it, and you had Kurt Russell's MacReady fighting Kurt Russell's Snake Plissken, who would win in a fight, like a bar brawl? I feel like that's a tough one.
I think there's it depends, and I'll tell you why. MacReady 1-on-1 with Snake Plissken all the way, but.
Yeah, I haven't set parameters or rules or access to weapons or in which environment or anything.
No, what I'm saying is
because they're both arguably two of the most badass characters ever committed to film.
MacReady,
right?
Yes, MacReady. That has been he's also the Thing. He wins all day.
Well, duh.
Because that happened because he's not the Thing when the movie ends, but they're sitting there together. He eventually does become. That's fact.
Well, and you've heard the whole argument about like, oh well, you see the smoke, the steam isn't coming from his breath, so he's not breathing. Where they're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
It's. I don't need that answered, but you know where it's going to go. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
they're gonna freeze and go into something, or it's.
One of them is the Thing, and then eventually turn into both of them becomes the Thing. So that's what to me it's the parameter. Also, Snake Plissken wears like a tank top. He's not going to do well in Antarctica. So it depends on where they're fighting at. Depends on how they're fighting in New York. And
so you know what? What I'm hearing is what I was thinking. I'm going to call a draw.
We'll call a draw. I think so. Yeah, I think it's a draw. But
Anyway.
Those two are amazing movies. But there's one that's almost the opposite. It's an alien invasion movie, but it turns everything on its head, and I think it's a fantastic film, and we did not talk about it.
I'm trying to anticipate where you're going here. I think you're a step ahead of me.
Starship Troopers.
Motherfucker, how have we not talked about that? I love the shit out of that.
That movie is 100%.
You want to talk about a movie ahead of its time?
Oh, it's absolutely ahead of its time. But it's an alien invasion movie, but we're the alien invaders.
Yeah, and here's the thing though. That movie is just big, boisterous, gory, spectacle-laden fun, but it's also got this really sharp, satiric social commentary going on about so much. I remember that movie got so much controversy because they said it was very like Nazi-ish when it came out. With the way it was depicted and everything. Yeah, I think it just has this weird kind of social and historical commentary running through it, where it's. I don't know, man. I think it's brilliant. I really do. It's done in the vein of like a B movie, but it's really smart.
Yeah, it's just fantastic how they all laid it out and how they made this movie that you can literally just sit back and have like a popcorn flick and enjoy it, but you can also dive into it and see that it's much smarter than it's laying on, and actually will blow your mind. And that to me is what great film is, and that's why it's one of the top movies on this list.
I could not agree more.
But that's going to do it for our show. I guess send us some messages in the comments. What is your favorite alien invasion movie and why? And let us know how we're doing. Go ahead and follow us on the Twitter. Go ahead and check us out on Facebook and like the show. Check us out on Black Coat Radio and some of our other shows. You can get us every single Friday, every single Monday. You will get a video game podcast with 0 lives, and then on Wednesday you'll get one sweet wrestling podcast. So check us out, check us all our shows, send us some messages,
talk to us. We want to hear from you.
Send Donnie Movie Time some death threats, and that'll be that's gonna be our show this time, and hopefully we're gonna come back next week and maybe get to see. No promises, but hopefully we're gonna get a chance to actually go see Independence Day and let you know our thoughts on it.
Sounds good. Although I gotta admit there is something that I kind of have a little more importance that I need to see before that. But yes.
No, you're right. Neon Demon is out.
I cannot wait. Been so excited for that one.
That is going to require an entire episode as well. But for Movie Night with Johnny Cinema, I am Johnny Cinema.
And I am Toby DePalma.
And we're going to see you at the movies.
This is David Levinson, Director of the Earth Space Defense. Our advanced warning systems have detected space alien activity in the following areas. Planet Earth. Expected arrival is in less than 72 hours. Alert your friends and neighbors using the hashtag Don't Mess with Earth, and visit IndependenceDayMyStreet.com for more information. We now return you to your regularly scheduled cat videos.
They're coming back. It has its own gravity. What goes up must come down. Shouldn't we be nervous?
Yeah.